Hi and welcome once again to Four Wheels Good. We've got a packed show today. We'll be taking a look at a fantastic rarity in the form of a 50s Ferrari. In contrast, we're investigating the new Mazda MX5 and taking a spin in Hyundai's latest sporty offering, the 1.6-litre Coupe. To help us find our way around, there's the new Alpine in-car navigation system. And for more miles to the gallon, we've second-hand diesels on test. But first, we went to Bavaria to test the exciting new Ford Puma. This sparkling new addition to Ford's range looks set to light up the lives of all coupe lovers. It was developed by the same team who worked on the RS Cosworth, and they truly have come up with a formula that's almost impossible to fault. Ian Royal reports.
Over the years, Ford have produced some stunning sports cars and coupes, cars like the Ford Capri. We probably all know somebody who had a Capri if you didn't actually have one yourself. My very first car was a 1.6S Ford Capri from 1979, beautiful in shiny gold. Well, Ford have moved on since then. We've had the Probe, which probably sold not quite as Ford intended, and in fact the Probe is about to cease production. Well, Ford's latest foray into the market is into the small and medium coupe market, and it's with this, the all-new Ford Puma. Now, Ford are looking for a big slice of the small and medium coupe market, around a 25% share, and that equates to around about 5,000 cars a year. This Puma is a radical design. It's based on the Fiesta. It's slightly longer than the Fiesta, but it uses the same Fiesta chassis with a slightly longer overhang at the front and rear. The lights on the back are absolutely gorgeous, very neat and in design. We've got 3 lights either side, and it just looks stunning from the rear end. Now, if you see this car coming up in your rear view mirror at a rather fast speed, you know it's something special. Ford have come up with a very aggressive look at the front. It's something they were obviously keen to design in, and the lights and the front spoiler look quite stunning. The car as a drive is absolutely superb, and we'll show you that in a few moments' time. The target market of the car is 25 to 35 primarily, but also maybe the slightly older age drivers as well, who've perhaps moved on and might have a second car in their garage, and they're looking for something a bit sporty and a bit fun to drive out at the weekends. And this is what the Puma is all about.
The design brief was to create a very exciting car with perception of performance and very distinctive styling. The advantage we had using the computers was that we were first of all able very quickly to show models, actual models, built on the design themes that we created on sketches, and then also to share almost instantaneously the ideas with our colleagues in England by transferring the data, and of course keeping in touch with engineering. It was a way of simultaneously working in a very synergetic way.
The power plant in the new Puma is an all-new 1.7-litre engine which develops 125 brake horsepower, and it's been developed in conjunction with Yamaha. The engines start their life in Germany. They're then shipped over to Japan, where Yamaha work on them and finish them off before shipping them back to Cologne, which is where the Puma is made. Now, the story of how Ford came up with the engine noise for the new Puma is really quite amazing. What they did was record the sounds of some of the world's most cherished cars onto digital tape, and then signal process those sounds to come up with a composite sound, which they then put before a panel of testers. Now, the pipes on the Puma have been carefully crafted to create a very unique resonance, to create special sounds and colours which they think will appeal to the driver.
Deliberately set the dynamics of Puma up to appeal to the real enthusiastic driver. The Fiesta platform has already been acclaimed for its ride, handling, steering compromise. In the development of that car, though, we all knew that underneath it all there was a real sports chassis there. So with Puma, we've revisited every facet of the steering, tyres, suspension, everything, and tuned it so that it's turn-in sharper, its body control is much tauter, to give a real thrill on the corners. It's a true delight.
Now, Ford aren't just aggressively marketing the Puma, it's really all-out war in the small coupe market. Production costs have been slashed because the car is based on the Fiesta floor pan. It comes in just one body style, one trim level, and with a price of just £14,550 on the road. Air conditioning will set you back just £350. Compare that, say, against the Fiat Coupe, who will charge you over £1,000 for air conditioning and put you into a higher insurance bracket.
Although Puma is a sports car, a driver's car, we haven't sacrificed affordability. Initially, the purchase price will be extremely competitive, principally because we've been able to build it on a mainstream production facility here in the Neal plant. But also, running costs will be extremely competitive. It's an extremely fuel-efficient engine. Servicing costs are also very competitive and offer no compromise from a regular production family car.
We're very new in the market. We offer something extremely different. It's not just a normal saloon turned into a sporty car. It has an individual personality to it. I think the styling is really breakthrough. It has incredible, just super attention to detail. The projector headlamps, the 3 tail lamps in the back, the aluminium gear shift knob, the brushed aluminium treatment in the cockpit itself, the very wide track of the vehicle, the large tyres, the large wheels. I think it just all reads sporty coupe.
We originally saw it as the Lynx at the Geneva show. Why was the name changed? Any special reasons?
Yes, I mean the Lynx was a concept car, as you say, that we showed at Geneva, a little bit of a teaser, a foretaste of what we were going to bring out here. Lynx doesn't work as a name in the marketplace, of course, because in Germany Lynx means left, at least phonetically. And we felt that Puma had all the right sort of connotations for the image of the car we wanted to create here, which is a very sort of capable, stylish, quick and agile type of vehicle with nothing superfluous. I'm very pleased. I mean, I'm obviously very gratified by the positive reaction we've had so far, both at Geneva and, of course, during the more recent drive exercises. Doing a car like this is a lot of fun. I mean, it's a tremendous thing for the team to do because we've got a lot of enthusiasts in Ford, and this is just a great car to let the team loose on, to really focus, not on the wider market, but on a very much more narrow, targeted part of the market, which is people for whom driving is not a piece of their social behavior. It's a hobby, a source of real pleasure and enjoyment to their lives.
If you look at the car, I think what you see first is a perception of performance and a lot of fun to drive this car. You really like to jump into the car. I think Puma will change or improve Ford's image even further. I mean, we have started already with the last products to improve our image, and Puma will just put one on top of it, just proving that we are able to do this very exciting niche markets products.
Now, Brian Wade, you're the brand manager. It's your job to try and market and sell these new Puma coupes from Ford. How are you going to go about that?
Well, the people who buy these are young and they're reasonably affluent and they lead interesting lives. So we wanted the launch to be interesting for them. We're going to invite all the people who buy one of these cars in August to attend a performance day. In fact, there are 3 of them, 2 at Brands Hatch, 1 at Alton Park, where they'll drive Puma on a racetrack. They'll get tuition from a top-class driver and take part in a whole host of performance-related events.
What about the TV commercials that are running at the moment with this Steve McQueen San Francisco bullet chase?
Yeah.
Tell us about that. Why you thought Steve McQueen was a good selling point for the Puma?
Okay. Well, we thought, what is the essence of Puma? What is this car all about? And we wanted to find somebody or something that could just very quickly represent that in people's minds. And we came up with the idea of Steve McQueen because everybody knows about the car chase in the film Bullet. And Steve McQueen is cool. I mean, you look at any magazine now and they're saying Steve McQueen is the Prince of Cool. And the advertising agencies said that they could put him in the car. We thought, well, we'd like to see this. And they've done it, and you've seen it. And it's outstanding, isn't it? He looks as though he's driving the car.
Puma's main competitors in the marketplace are going to be the Opel Tigra, which was introduced, I guess, 2.5 years ago. Last year, Renault introduced the Megane Coupe, which has probably achieved sales dominance so far in the segment. And then towards the high end of the segment, there's the Fiat Coupe, which is a little bit larger, but is also considered to be in the small car coupe segment. Slightly further up the market, there's the Probe Opel Calibra market, which is, let's say, the Mondeo size. But the sort of customers who buy coupes move between these marketplaces quite readily. They want to see what's new out there, and they go and buy it.
So what's our final impression of the new Puma Coupe from Ford? Well, we've had a chance to drive it around the roads of Bavaria, and overall we're very impressed. It rides well, it handles superbly, it's very responsive, and there's plenty of power from Ford's new 1.7 litre engine. We tried to think of some negative points about it, and to be honest, we've struggled to find any. The fuel filler cap is rather fiddly and seems a little bit on the cheap side and could quite easily break. Also, the little cubby box that's near the gear lever seems to be designed for, well, nothing really. It's too small to fit a drinks can in. You might get a mobile phone in there, but apart from that, maybe a few coins and things. So those are kind of the only real negative points we've come up with. So if you're in the market for a small coupe, well, there's really plenty to choose from. You've got the Tigra from Vauxhall, you've got the Fiat Coupe, and you've got the Hyundai Coupe. But make sure you go to one of the Ford specialist dealers about the new Puma Coupe and get a chance to drive it, and then you'll really enjoy it.
Ian Royal there in Bavaria with a stunning addition to the Ford range. Well, after the break, we'll be enjoying the speedy delights of two classy vehicles, a hand-built Ferrari, which captures the mood of the 50s, and the brand new version of Mazda's ever-popular MX5. We'll see you in a couple of minutes. Hi, and welcome back to part 2. Now, down in a quiet part of the New Forest where the wild ponies roam and play in blissful innocence, the silence has been broken by the roar of Dave Miller and the latest addition to his range. There are few cars as classy as a Ferrari, and there are even less as classy as a Ferrari from the 50s. Dave is a lover and dealer of, you've guessed it, Ferraris, and he's soon going to have to part with another friend, a hand-built replica of a 1954 SD500 Mondial. Stephen Vokins went to meet him.
Picture the scene. It's 8 o'clock on Saturday night and you're sitting in your favourite comfy chair watching telly. 6 balls have suddenly changed your life. You used to have a few £100 overdraft in the bank and maybe 18 years left on the mortgage. All of a sudden that doesn't matter anymore. You've just joined the elite class of people who don't have money worries. By the following Monday morning, this newfound wealth isn't just burning a polite little hole in your pocket, your trousers are a blazing inferno. Now, it's fairly safe to assume that as you're a motoring fan, one of the first things you'd do would be like me, go out and buy a car. But with a limitless budget, what exactly would you buy? Now, I'm not a gambling man and I don't do the lottery, so the likelihood of me finding myself in that position is even less likely than the 18 million to 1 odds of the lottery. But if, say, Aunt Maud, who I'd never ever heard of, left me enormous amounts in her will, I think I know what I'd do. I'd go out and I'd buy a car. For every day I'd buy a Mercedes, but for those special fun days I'd buy a Ferrari. I'm talking now to Dave Miller, whose company Forza 288 are Ferrari specialists. Dave, this looks like a real lottery winner's car. Tell me more about it.
Well, it's a recreation of the original 1954 Mondial 500 ST, and as you can see, somebody has painstakingly recreated what is probably the nearest recreation you'll get, so authentically done. And basically it's a car for fun.
It certainly is a fabulous car. What sort of speed is it capable of?
It's capable of about 130 miles an hour, which without a screen it's pretty horrendous, and your face tends to get pulled back if you reach anything over 80 or 90, although I've never done that on any of the British roads.
obviously. Flies in the teeth stuff. Eh?
Absolutely, Steve.
Excellent. Dave, you're not just a Ferrari specialist, you're a real enthusiast, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. You have to be to actually sell the cars and be ever involved in them. I've been now selling them for nearly 20 years, and every car's special, and every car's a delight to drive. They're all different, they're all hand-built, and you just feel that part of Enzo Ferrari's in every one.
There's a real passion. It's not just the red, is it?
Oh no, no. In fact, we've had them in most colours that's available from the factory. Giallo, fly yellow, silver, blue. We actually live, eat, sleep and breathe Ferraris at home, and they're just a way of life.
So do you have non-road cars as well as the obvious sports
We have
cars?
the occasional sports racing car that comes in, but the majority of them are road cars. The actual sports racing cars as such were built in very, very small numbers and sold basically to racing enthusiasts who took them on the track. And it's a slightly different market, although one that I'm very interested in.
Cars over the years, especially the last 20 years, have changed out of all recognition, and this is true of Ferraris as well. Do they still have the same degree of passion as, say, a classic Ferrari like this one?
Yes, I think even when you go to the 550s and the 355s, they've kept up with tradition not only in the Ferrari spirit, but they've also kept up with the actual design, build quality, and they're now a car that really is unique in every sense of the way, and they've kept ahead always. They've always been that one step ahead of anything else that you would actually consider buying in that market. They are the ultimate car.
So with the hypothetical lottery winner coming to you with this large bundle of cash, would you advise him against buying certain Ferraris because they're too wild to drive, or are they all easy to drive, or what?
Steve, it depends on the person. I think if a very young person who's driving has inexperience, I would suggest that he didn't start on a Ferrari of a 12-cylinder car to start with. Maybe start with something very much smaller like a Dino or probably a GT4 to get the feel of driving a Ferrari, and then maybe go into the slightly bigger stuff, bigger engine stuff, to gain his experience of driving a car.
What was your first Ferrari then?
Well, to be honest with you, I started with Alfa Romeos, as did Enzo Ferrari. He drove for Alfa Romeo before he set up the Ferrari company himself, and I started with Alfa Romeos, and I think they're a wonderful little car. I then ventured, my first Ferrari was a 308 GT4, and that was it, the passion that got me, and I couldn't ever buy any other car or have any other car to drive for myself or to sell.
Did you ever meet the great Enzo?
No, unfortunately I didn't.
Well, I'm sorry to say that during the making of this item, I haven't received any communications at all from Aunt Maud's solicitors. Therefore, she either doesn't exist or she hasn't left me any money. Either ways, the end result is the same.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Dave.
Yes, what a stunning vehicle. Another more modern and not quite so rare vehicle which has just come on the market is the new Mazda MX5. It has all the power you expect from a 90s car and all the style of a 60s vehicle. Ginny Buckley teams up with it for the day and compares it to some of its rivals.
Well, spring has finally arrived, and that means that summer is on its way at last. And it's only natural that our thoughts should turn to holidays, long hot summer nights, and owning a sporty little roadster that you can take the top off.
The summer of '97 will be known for the return of the Roadster. BMW Z3, James Bond's choice, has arrived at last. Rover's MGF is going strong. There's the Alfa Spider, the Renault Spider, the Lotus Elise, Fiat's delicious little boat, the Barchetta, and of course the SLK, if you can get your hands on one.
And for the return of the Roadster, we really have one manufacturer to thank, Mazda. When they proved to us that you can combine 60s style with 90s reliability and performance by bringing us the fantastic MX5.
After 6 years and with a new model just round the corner, it's time to take a look at the MX5 and see how it compares to the new kids on the block. Like all its rivals, you buy an MX5 for its looks and the fun factor, not for its practicality.
Owning an MX5 will certainly make you a far more disciplined traveller. There's not an awful lot of boot space, so if you're one of these people that likes to travel with a kitchen sink and then some, you can forget it. There's just about room in here for a weekend bag. But on the plus side, it's a bit of an antisocial car. 2 is company and 3 is definitely a crowd, which basically means that you're never going to have to be the taxi service to your local pub.
The secret of Mazda's success with the MX5 was to keep it simple. It's traditional driving the way it should be in a sports car. A front-mounted engine and rear-wheel drive that together dish out pure driving delight. There are 2 engines in the range, a 1.6 and the more powerful 1.8i, which really is the one to look out for. You'll get 120 miles per hour out of the 1.8. It'll do 0 to 60 in 8.8 seconds and packs 130 brake horsepower under the bonnet. Power that goes, oh joy, straight to the rear wheels.
The MX5 has many strong points, but luxury isn't one of them. The interior styling is very basic and features none of the strong styling that you can see in many of the other roadsters on the market. Now, to get the merest hint of electrics, of ABS, power steering, or even a driver's airbag, you're going to have to opt for the 1.8 IS, which will set you back an extra £3,000. However, you'll find that what there is in the MX5 is sensibly laid out and it all works well. And after you've been driving it for a while, you'll find that the simplicity is really part of the charm about the Mazda. And maybe those little luxuries aren't so important after all.
The driving experience more than makes up for the basic interior. The Mazda has a snappy, sporty gear change. It attacks corners with relish. And sitting in the driver's seat, the handling is so responsive that you feel part of the car, an extension of it. And that means that you get the most out of the action. You and the Mazda become a team, rather than just a driver and a machine.
Of course, it's always worth remembering that in England the sun can very quickly give way to cold wind and rain, and you don't want to have to spend 5 minutes struggling to get the hood back up. And I'm happy to report that the Mazda's is a doddle, simplicity itself that you can do one-handed from inside the car. There we go! Nice and warm and dry, and on your way again.
One other thing about the wet to remember, do treat the MX5 very carefully in it. Too much throttle going into a corner and you could end up in big trouble. But for now, let's get back to that sunshine. And you're in the MX5 with the hood down on an open road, and I tell you, it'll win your heart. It's driving cars like this that makes me realise what a fantastic job I have. And then they go and spoil it all. by making me give it back.
Yes, a truly sporting little roadster. Well, we'll see you after the break when we take a drive in the Scottish Highlands in the new Hyundai 1.6 litre coupe. Hi, welcome back. Now, earlier in the programme we had a look at a contender for the throne of coupe for 1997. Well, now we look at another. The Hyundai 1.6 litre coupe is another car with style and power. It retains the look and most of the power of the earlier 2 litre model. It's also a great deal more economical with fuel. Stephen Hay flew up to Aberdeenshire to test drive this worthy challenger.
The new Hyundai 1.6 litre version of its popular coupe has arrived. It's got an on-the-road price of £14,000 with all the sleek power of many of its more expensive rivals. Already the previous coupes are in great demand, and the forecast with this model is that coupe will go from strength to strength. Combining a high level of specification with a modern 16-valve engine, the new 1.6 is a car to be reckoned with. It's the third version of the 3-door coupe, and its engine gives 112 brake horsepower. With its capability of 0 to 60 in 10.9 seconds and the option of a 5-speed manual or 4-speed automatic, the 1.6 is an all-rounder with a sporty feel. The coupe was the first Hyundai to be powered by the 2-litre version of the lightweight Brittain engine developed in Korea. This modern 16-valve unit is now offered in the Lantra and the Lantra Estate, making these models the most powerful contenders in their class. The smaller 1.6-litre version of the Brittain engine, which has been successful in other versions of the Lantra, has now been transplanted to the coupe. Other than its displacement, its sophisticated specification is identical to the larger 2-litre unit, with 4 valves per cylinder, powered by the double overhead camshafts and driven by a steel timing belt. Better fuel economy and low emissions are gained through the use of twin-spray fuel injectors and a knock control system. As with all Brittain engines, the 1.6-litre unit provides at least 90% of the maximum torque at all engine speeds from 2,200 to 6,250 RPM. In order to ensure the highest standards of driving excellence, Hyundai Coupe's suspension was tuned by world-renowned European chassis engineers. They made subtle changes to spring rates and anti-roll bars. They also prompted the use of gas-filled hydraulic dampers. This tuning combines with the power steering to give a balanced handling with the emphasis on sporting pleasure. It's generally agreed by the motoring world and the public that the Hyundai Coupe is the best car to come out of Korea. The car feels like the 2-litre to drive. It rides well, handles well, but just lacks the crispness that the 2-litre has. Looks-wise, Hyundai have made the right decision in using the same shape as the 2-litre. The only way of telling the two apart is that you have steel wheels rather than alloy wheels. All of these factors added together make a car which is a pleasure, if not a buzz, to drive. The acceleration, power steering and road holding are combined to great effect on those wild and winding Highland B roads. Every car which comes into the country at the moment is already sold. If the 1.6 follows the sales direction of the 2-litre, you should book now, because they're going to go like hot cakes.
overheating on the motorway, the loss of water, the emulsifying of the oil, bob on, absolutely classic, head gasket failure. Right, now we're going to fix it. As you can see, I'm trying desperately at the minute to work around using these latex gloves. That's got it. An absolute boom for DIY mechanics, because when you take them off, as you can see, the gloves are filthy, but underneath the hands are relatively clean. Sometimes you don't actually have to remember exactly where things that you take off are going back, because they just seem to fall in the right place. And people often ask me, they say, well, how do you know where things are going back when you've taken them off? And quite often, sometimes it's very obvious, they just fall in the right place. Right, it's just a little trick with these water pipes. They're refusing to come off. So what we do is put a pair of pliers over the pipe, don't crimp it too hard, and just twist backwards and forwards, and then it comes off. I think we need a bit more on that Jubilee clip. Right, let's just take a bit more off this clip. There we are, and get this fuel injection cum carburetor out of the way, and just we can see a lot more of what we're doing. These are great because they're actually marked up for you. The cylinder numbers are put on. 1, should say 2 on that one, 3 and 4. They think of everything forward. Yeah, time for a new pair of gloves. They're great at keeping your hands clean, they're just not really strong enough for this job. I suppose they're alright when you're messing about with people's insides. Right. I've been using this new 3/8 inch socket set for about 8 weeks now, and I absolutely love it. It's a heck of a lot better than the old 1/2 inch square drive. A lot lighter, the kit's a lot lighter. It has a lovely tactile feel to it. So on modern overhead cam engines, you wouldn't have a rocker box like this at all. It's just that this engine design's probably about 25 years old. And it's the old overhead valve engine that started off in the Ford Popular, as it was. Oh, Gordon Bennett, what a mess. I hate to say that this car has been rather badly looked after. And there's all the emulsified oil. For those people who go along to the accessory shop and look at oil $2.99, it's a bargain. It is. But that is what it does to your engine. Horrible.
Anyway, join us after the break when we'll be literally told where to go by a computer. Hi and welcome back. Well, these days it wouldn't be too much of a surprise to find a computer telling you where to go. Many companies have invested in developing their own in-car navigation systems. Alpine, a company known primarily for their in-car entertainment systems, have broadened their range and moved into the world of navigation. Their new in-car navigation system is already a big seller in Japan, and we're about to benefit from this technology as well. As small as a car stereo with a full colour display and voice instructions, it's set to change the way we think of route planning.
We've come to the centre of London to find out about satellite navigation systems. What are satellite navigation systems, you may well ask? Well, hopefully today we'll find out more. There are quite a few different versions available on the market from leading manufacturers like Philips, Blaupunkt and Alpine, which is the one that we're going to test today. So we're off now to Regent's Park to meet the man from Alpine, who hopefully is going to show us how it all works, and hopefully we won't need any more of these.
In Japan, our home country, we started making navigation systems in 1982. And the Japanese have a requirement for this because they don't have street names and numbers in the way that we do. So getting across Tokyo is quite a problem.
I mean, without giving any trade secrets away in terms of numbers you want to sell here, I mean, in Japan it's been an enormous seller, hasn't it?
Sure, I mean, we're selling now 400,000 units a year, so it's a huge market. And with the population of Europe being roughly similar, we could expect the same amount in a very short period.
What parts of the country are covered by satellite navigation at the moment?
Well, it's the map area that is important, and the database presently is within the M25, Kent, Surrey and Sussex, but it will quickly roll out over the United Kingdom until the end of '98 when it's all complete. And
what does it cost to get into satellite navigation in your car?
Well, if we take the hardware, it's £2,200. The average time to fit depends, of course, on car, but 2 to 3 hours to install, and there you are. You're on the road, ready to go.
And software upgrades will come at regular intervals?
Yeah, every 6 months there'll be a new CD-ROM available, which will just extend that map database until the whole country is covered.
And the whole country will be covered on just one CD?
Oh yes, yeah, just one CD-ROM.
So this is an important part of the system, Graham. The CD is contained in that little unit there?
Sure, everything is in this box. It's a car radio size, and the entire road network of the United Kingdom will be on the one CD-ROM.
So inside the car, everything looks nice and neat. You've got the one LCD screen, which is actually built into the dashboard in this particular car. Tell us then how it actually works and how you program in the information to get you from A to B.
Yep, we've got an aerial the size of a matchbox on the rear shelf. We've got the CD-ROM unit in the rear of the car, and the video processor box for driving pictures.
And as well as the visual display, you also get an audio signal when you're driving along as well.
Oh yes, yes, it's voice commands as well, and you've got a volume control here so that you can hear it or turn it down, whatever your wish is.
Sure, Graham. Let's actually put the system to the test now. We're here at Regent's Park. We want to go to Piccadilly Circus. We decided to go there.
It's a menu system, so straight away, destination and what category. Category can be anything from a street train station, but in the case of Piccadilly Circus, let's use tourist point. The blue line is the route. So if we want to just look at the whole route.
So you can kind of zoom out on the route?
Well, I've asked for all route to be displayed, which means that it will compress the picture to whatever size is required to show the route. And here we are in Regent's Park, and we're going to move through down to Piccadilly Circus.
So Graham, we've arrived here at Piccadilly Circus with the help of your navigation system. It's got us here safely, and the right route as well. We should also point out that there are other systems on the market from Philips and Blaupump, but how would you say yours compares to theirs in terms of ease of use out on the road?
The German market, where the products have been on sale side by side over the last 14 months, have indicated that ours is the better of the systems, and I hope that's proven here. But one difference is the fact that we can scroll over our map database, and that makes it very, very easy to select a destination without having to know where you actually want to go.
Okay, cheers Graham, thanks for showing us your navigation system around the centre of London. Very impressive system, seems to work well here in the city. You have a safe journey home.
Thanks a lot.
Don't get lost.
Bye.
Yeah, a really useful device that. And in future programmes we'll introduce you to the Alpine system's competitors, such as Vauxhall's car-in navigation computer.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is the 4th programme in the series in which we are showing you how we turned my road-going Skoda Felicia into a Group N rally car to compete in the coming Skoda Trophy Rally Championship. My car was stripped of all components and ancillaries, then sent off to a motorsport fabricators for the welding up of the seams, the fitting of the cage, painting of the car and cage, and some of the preparation for the forthcoming season. I had a deadline to meet. I had to be on a ferry bound ultimately for Norway to visit John Hogland's Winter Rally School to take lessons from John in car handling using spiked tyres on a frozen lake. But tonight, another seat of learning. Whilst the car is being prepared, there's other things to consider. One of the things being the seat. And I'm at a competition seat place in Radcliffe in Manchester at Motor Drive. Alan is fitting me for this seat. Alan, what do you need to know?
Well, first of all, obviously, what we do is we put you into a seat shell, that's about your size, so I can feel that there's room at the side.
Okay, so this seat has to hold you, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The whole idea of a competition seat is that you don't move in the car.
Right.
And it holds you and it protects you.
Right, so at the moment this feels a bit uncomfortable.
Right. We find this, first of all, when somebody first sits in the seat, we actually try and put them into a seat slightly bigger than their own frame.
Right.
Then we can bring it back to their size.
Right.
What I want you to do is sit in this seat for a small period of time. Let me just have a feel.
Okay. It feels quite tight, it does grip.
To make sure everything is about right. What I'd like you to do now is sit in that for a few minutes.
Right.
Then come out of the seat, and then when you sit back in it again, you can be a lot more constructive in your criticism.
Right.
And we can go from there.
Okay. I've got to sit here for 5 minutes. And they've left me. And they've gone for a cup of tea. It's getting comfier though. Right, Alan, this is getting comfortable now.
You feeling a little bit better?
Yeah,
Good. I did say you would do. It's still, I think, a little large here.
Yeah. Will that not give?
No. What we're going to try and do with this area is probably pad it back to you now.
Right.
And we've got to leave it slightly large there because you're a big lad here. On your shoulders, you're larger than your waist.
Right.
So we'll take the largest section of you, which are your shoulders.
Yeah.
And then we'll bring the rest of the seat back to you.
Right. Are you also looking at the length of the back of this?
Yes, I am.
Right.
Exactly. Well, if I can just put this belt on for you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Right. That feels good.
Now I can actually hold you in the seat and know exactly how you're going to sit in the car.
Right. Okay. Does it need a little bit there?
Possibly a little bit.
Yeah.
But we're looking quite good. I think we're going to need a little bit more.
I'll tell you where I do need some, and that's in my back and the lumbar part of the back.
No problem.
All right.
We can actually build that in for you.
Yeah.
What we're going to have to try and do is determine exactly where that's got to go. I think even at the late stage of in the vehicle itself.
Right.
Once we know exactly where it's going to go, then we can actually build it in for you. So that's not a problem. But apart from that, it's looking good.
Right, so you've made the shell in the fiberglassing room. We're now in the spraying room. We've got in front of us 2 different shells made of different substances. Do you want to tell us what they are?
Yeah, this one, the one that looks like a bee on the back. The yellow is Kevlar.
Yeah.
And the black is carbon fibre. This is woven together and then made into a seat shell.
Right.
This seat is a Kevlar composite seat.
Right.
Which is a glass seat reinforced with Kevlar.
That's glass fibre, is it?
Glass fibre reinforced with Kevlar. All the strengthening areas, the mountings, the pickup points for where you're mounting the seat, and the strengthening points across your kidneys, across the base of the seat, and down the spine of the seat.
Right. Okay.
Are done in Kevlar.
Yeah, I noticed this one has got the foam already stuck to this.
Various different ways of foaming different seats.
Right.
This, as it happens, is our Clubman seat, which is the least expensive in our range.
Okay.
And it takes the least foam to actually do anything to it.
These are 2 different foams, are they different?
2 different densities,
yeah?
for 2 obviously different reasons.
Right.
under here there's some extra padding anyway,
Yeah.
and under the front of the seat there's some extra padding.
You'll need
to take
that.
your legs.
You'll need that
But
when
in
you
the
run through forests.
sides, on a clubman seat there's very, very little, whereas on a professional seat the padding is totally, totally different and is made to measure for the individual people.
Okay, so when it's been through this process, where do we go next?
We then go to the cutting and sewing room.
Right. Let's
Okay.
go and have a look at that.
This is our cutting room. In here we lay all the different materials out,
Right.
and lay the patterns, of which we have one or two.
Okay.
On the material, usually the material then is built up maybe 10 deep, and then the cutter is used to cut all the different parts out.
So it's economical.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right.
From here, once all the material's cut,
Yeah.
then it's got to be sewn together.
Yeah.
For that, I've got to take you to another room.
Back out the door, eh?
Yes, it's through the door.
Okay.
Into the sewing room. In the sewing room, all the pieces you saw being cut out there all come together to form, in this case, this is a centre for a clubman seat.
Right.
Or, in this case, this is a professional cover.
Right.
You can see all the different pieces sewn together.
Mm-hmm.
This is the type of seat that you're actually having.
Oh, okay.
So all we've now got to do is decide what colour we're having,
Right.
and what colour embroidery,
Right.
and are we having our name on it?
No, we're
and
not
anything
having
else.
anything. So when all those ingredients are put together, you get a competition seat. Speaking of seats, guess whose seat I'm sat in?
Well, that's it for this week. Join us next time when we'll be over in Spain looking at the new Toyota Corolla and visiting the cars at the Vauxhall Heritage Centre. So, we'll see you next time.